Today we're making 5 healthy and classic pastas on a budget. This pasta al tonno is the ultimate pantry pasta using canned tuna to make something other than a sandwich. I have some cherry tomatoes, about a cup of it, that I'm just gonna cut in half to help with the sauce. I love using the different colors of cherry tomatoes to give our dish a nice pop of color. It just makes it like really bright and cheery. We're gonna set it aside, and then to get cooking, we're gonna drizzle in a couple tablespoons of olive oil, add some crushed garlic, and our cherry tomatoes. Let it sizzle up for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna add in our canned tuna. I'm just using this canned tuna and olive oil here. If you want it a little spicy, some chili flakes, and then 2 tablespoons of your favorite marinara sauce, and 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. Now, fish sauce isn't what you normally find in Italian cooking. Usually they mash up anchovies, like whole anchovies, but fish sauce is made from anchovies, and it's probably a lot more cost efficient because you already have it in your pantry. It gives a nice depth and some subtle saltiness to the dish. All right, so once the sauce starts to come together, I'm gonna add a little bit of reserved pasta water. We always add pasta water so that it clings to our pasta, and of course for this one, I'm gonna be using some rigatoni because I just like how the tuna gets stuck inside the tube, and then you get a little bit of everything in each bite. We'll let it all simmer for a few minutes, and then we plate. Sprinkle on some fresh basil, a hit of Parmesan cheese. When you have those I have nothing to eat at home but don't want to order out moments, this pasta al tonno will satisfy and save the day. And if you were to buy things to make this, it would be $2.50 per servings, but since it's already using what you have, it's practically free. All right, so now on to the pasta Amatriciana. It's a classic tomato-based Roman dish that I don't see it at a lot of restaurants, so today we're gonna make it. To prep this, we need some shallots that we're just gonna chop up. I'm using a shallot because it's a cross between an onion and a garlic, and I kind of love the flavors together, so it works perfectly in this dish. And then canned tomatoes. I usually just buy crushed tomatoes, but if you wanted to use whole peeled tomatoes, you could crush them yourself for a more rustic dish. And if you can, try to find San Marzano tomatoes because it just creates a more flavorful dish. So now to cook everything off, I'm gonna start with the pancetta. Traditionally, guanciale is used. It's cured pork jowl, but pancetta is easier to find. You could also sub for bacon if you can't find either one. We'll render the fat, let it cook down until it's nice and crispy. Then I'm gonna take out the pancetta and set it aside. Now in the same pan, I'm gonna fry up our chopped shallots until it's fragrant but not quite golden brown. If you need a little more oil, go ahead and add it. Next, we'll add our crushed tomatoes, a little salt and pepper to taste, and we'll just cook the sauce down for about 10 minutes to absorb all the flavors here. In the meantime, we're gonna cook off our pasta. I'm using spaghetti again here, but bucatini is a really popular choice for this dish. I'm just gonna drain and reserve some of the pasta water. Now we'll add the spaghetti along with a 1/4 cup of pasta water and the pancetta back into the pan where we have our tomato sauce, and let everything simmer for a few minutes before serving. We want the pasta to soak in all of that saucy goodness. So into a bowl it goes, and I like to add just a nice helping of Parmesan cheese and chili flakes. It's a simple dish, but using the fat from the pancetta adds a nice salty smokiness that makes this rather plain tomato pasta dish elevated and delicious. At $2.86, this is a little more on the pricey side of this video, but it's well worth it. If you know someone trying to use up all the zucchini from their garden, send them this recipe because we're using summer's best veggie to make this pasta Nerano, a creamy zucchini pasta. I'm gonna start by, of course, slicing our zucchini into thin rounds. A mandolin like this makes the job go so much faster, but definitely watch your fingers. So depending on how large your zucchini is, you might only need to use 2 or 3 or even 1 if you have those like giant garden size ones. Once that's done, we'll get a large pan. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of olive oil and fry up our zucchini slices in batches. I like the zucchini with a little bit of brownness to it, but once it gets to where you like it, remove and drain onto a plate lined with some paper towels. Salt the zucchini while it's still hot and repeat the steps until you've gone through all the zucchini. In the meantime, boil and cook your pasta. Traditionally, this is made with spaghetti pasta. We're gonna change it up and use my favorite, the cavatappi. That's a tubey, curly pasta with ridges, so it holds a lot of sauce. Go ahead and take half of the zucchini that we've already cooked off, and we're gonna mash it down. I'm using an immersion blender here to get it nice and creamy. Now into the same pan that we cooked the zucchini off earlier, add 2 cloves of minced garlic, and we're gonna fry them up for about a minute. Then add the blended zucchini, our cooked pasta, a little bit of pasta water to thin out the sauce just a smidge, and then let it warm through. Now we add the rest of the zucchini in along with some torn basil, mix it well, and let's serve. This is such a simple dish that you really don't need much, just a little hint of Parmesan cheese on top to bring out the saltiness of the squash. It's a veggie pasta that you'll be making over and over and over again this summer. And at only $1.70 per serving, it's a definite winner. It's like a zucchini pesto almost, but so delicious. This pasta aglio e olio, say that 3 times really fast, is a classic pasta dish that requires only 5, maybe 6 ingredients. And while it's very simple, the technique and the results you get in this dish makes it really special. So the only prepping we need to do here is just chopping up 4 cloves of garlic. Instead of crushing it like I usually do, I'm gonna slice them up thinly. This way you get nice bites of garlic in the pasta. Then if you wanted to add a touch of freshness and herbs in, finely chop some parsley and we'll set them aside. Now we salt and boil our pasta. I'm using spaghetti here because I think the twirl at the end makes it extra special. So I'm just gonna boil about 6 ounces of spaghetti here until it's nice and al dente, meaning it's cooked but still firm when it's bitten. I'm gonna save about a cup of our pasta water before we drain it though, and then we can make the sauce. Usually, since this dish comes together so fast, you would be boiling the pasta and making the garlic at the same time, but I wanted to show you guys all the different components coming together. So in a frying pan that's large enough to hold the spaghetti later, I'm gonna drizzle in a 1/4 cup of olive oil and let it get shimmery on medium-high heat. Pasta aglio e olio literally means pasta with garlic and oil, so that's why we're using so much of it. We're gonna add all the garlic in and let it cook in a single layer just until the slivers get golden brown. It kind of goes fast, so just keep a watchful eye on it because you don't want the garlic to burn. And then if you want it a little bit spicy, you can also add some chili flakes in there too. It becomes aglio e olio e peperoncino. So once it looks about how we want it, which is a nice golden brown and the garlic is nice and fragrant, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of our reserved pasta water to stop the frying, and then it'll also help the garlic get nice and soft to create a beautiful sauce that'll cling to our pasta. So once the sauce has reduced a bit, we're gonna add in our cooked pasta along with a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and our chopped parsley. Turn off the heat and we'll just give it a nice mix. So once you mix everything together, the Parmesan cheese, the pasta water, the garlic kind of emulsifies to create like this really beautiful creamy sauce. Then we just simply plate and enjoy this pasta either as a side to your favorite protein or as a main if you want. Up to you, but this garlicky noodle is one that is not only easy, it's delicious, and you're gonna wanna make it all the time. And for $1.10 per serving, it's one that won't break the budget. So good. This one technically is more of an Italian-American dish, but a classic nonetheless. We're making pasta Alfredo. And I'm gonna do a lightened up version by adding some mushrooms, so let's get to chopping. I'm using baby bellas here and slicing it so it cooks up nice and meaty. We're gonna mince a few garlic cloves and some fresh parsley to finish off the dish later. That's all for the chopping. And now to cook this, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of butter and let it melt on medium-high heat. We'll cook up our mushrooms. We'll season it with some salt and pepper. And once the mushrooms have sweated down a bit and looked a little bit more softened, we'll add the garlic, 4 ounces of cream cheese, plus 1.5 cups of whole milk. I'm not using heavy cream here, but instead the cream cheese will help the milk thicken up and create this really creamy, cheesy sauce. Let it come to a simmer for about 5 minutes. Look how that came together. It's soft, it's thick, it's creamy. Once the sauce is ready, we'll add in our cooked pasta. I'm using fusilli here because I love how the corkscrew just grips and clings to the sauce. Then I'm gonna add half a cup of grated Parmesan or Pecorino Romano cheese, some pasta water if you want it to thin out a little bit, and let everything warm through. We get this nice, luscious, creamy pasta Alfredo. And with all cream sauce, it tends to coagulate and thicken as it sits, so I always err on the side of making it thin. Serve it up, and then we'll hit it with some fresh parsley that we chopped up earlier. And this is the most comforting dish that'll only cost you $1.85 per serving. If 5 of these classic pasta recipes don't do it for you, I have even more pasta recipes in my cookbook here, so check it out. And if you guys want even more pasta recipes, I have these videos here. Go watch them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!